Okay, very quickly, I got to get to this. You have talked about before how immigrants come here and they dominate certain businesses. You talk about how Indians from India dominate your cheap motels and your Dunkin' Donuts. How does that happen?
Well, it happened because of one thing. First, by the 1790 immigration policy that was set up by Congress, which put a ranking order of acceptability and value on people coming into the country, with the top being, as it descends in color, it descends in value. And the top of the rank was white, yellow, brown, black. Black people had no value at the bottom. You were simply just 3/5 of a human being, and you were property and had no value. And so as those people come into the country from up above black folk, that means the whites, yellow, and browns, they come into this country with what we call social capital. That's why if you look at the ranking in one of my books, I think I might have it in, maybe put it in Powernomics, where the highest ranking people coming in was from Australia, where their personal capital worth might come in at $700,000 to $800,000. And you go down, even a Mexican can come in, his personal social capital will be something like $200,000. But you come in and you get into Africa, it's down below zero. And so in this country, black folk didn't have any social capital because they kept them based on their value as defined and declared by the United States Constitution and laws that were implemented in all the southern states. So that's the first thing that made a difference. The second thing was that when they came in here voluntarily, and they were able to get benefits that black folk couldn't get. That's because this nation maldistributed almost 100% of everything of value into the hands based on a skin color ranking from white, yellow, brown, black. They could come in and get resources you still can't get. That's why any immigrant right now coming to America, they got about 10 or 20 immigration programs right now at the federal level and at the state level. As these immigrants come in, even these Syrians that are coming in now, they can get special benefits that black folk cannot get. They got special districts set up where they can go in and claim that they're immigrants and get benefits. So the thing black folks need to be doing is say, we want to be treated with the value of these immigrants got, and we want to have access to everything they got coming to this country. The third thing, these immigrants come in this country, they don't pay taxes. When they should be coming in, the blacks should be demanding that they be charged a fee for entry into the country, and that money should go into a special development bank in these primarily black communities to help build business and rebuild these urban areas. But to get back to the point though, they came in with capital, human capital that we didn't come in. We were stripped of everything down to naked. The other thing they had is that when they came in, they had a culture. They brought their culture with them. They could build their businesses around their culture. And they also can maintain a relationship with their native land where they could ship in different products and deal with the different businesses. See, right, that's why when you go to Walmarts or some of these major grocery stores, you'll find a whole section just on maybe foods and products from Santo Domingo, products and goods from Santo Domingo, from Mexico. You'll find that all these products from clothing coming in from India, and all the shoes and everything coming in from South Korea. They were able to maintain a network to ship in products that would help them build their businesses in Chinatown. And you go to Chinatown, they got businesses there that shipping in products bringing in products from nations around the world. The other thing they had a language system. That language system gave them an advantage. They gave them advantage so that they could communicate strictly and solely with their own people without anybody else interfering. Black folk didn't come in with a language system. And even right now, I find some people coming in from the Caribbean islands that don't understand that. They're coming here saying, well, I'm from Jamaica. Why can't black folk do like we did? We did this in Little Haiti. We did this in Little Jamaica. Yes, you came in here voluntarily. And most of these blacks coming in from the Caribbean, they don't understand it. They coming in from the Caribbean as a black person, instead of setting up a business in a black neighborhood. Had they set up that same business in Mississippi or Louisiana right now, white folk would have put them out of business in 1 week. They are protected because they go into a black neighborhood. And so all these people coming in, the fourth or fifth thing they do, they build their businesses in black neighborhoods. You go to any black community in America, you're going to find all kind of businesses in the black neighborhood. By the same time, they build communities so black folk cannot build businesses in their communities. You're not going to find any black businesses in Chinatown, in Koreatown, or in Jewish town. They're not going to build. They're going to let you in there into their neighborhoods to build business and to take out the wealth and let you bring in resources. And so that consequently, they have those advantages. The third and last thing, they practice group economics. They pick identified a specific business and they vertically integrate it. So that's why they all know exactly what those businesses are. Let's use an example. In Detroit, Michigan, when the Arabs come in here, they tell all their people coming in, one of the things we're going to try to build vertically is oil, because we can start trying to control it from the bottom to the top. And you go into places like Detroit, Michigan, they will have 146 gas stations. Arabs right now own 144 to 145 out of 146 gas stations in a city that was 92% black. All over this country, Arabs would control the gas stations. And then they go in Detroit, they would find that they own the gas stations, the grocery stores, the discount stores, the party stores, and the liquor stores. Blacks will own nothing in a city where they are 92% of the population, because the Arabs will come out of Dearborn and take over and dominate economically based on vertical ordering businesses from the bottom to the top. Koreans will come in. They'll do the same thing. They're going to come in and pick certain industries. They're going to try to dominate. They'll pick cleaners. They're going to pick stuff like hair products for black folk, and car washing places. Black and Indians will pick Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Elevens. All of them pick special places where they're going to dominate and control. But they're not going to buy from black businesses. They're going to boycott black businesses, but come in and practice group economics, where they're going to bounce their money 8 to 12 times before it leaves their hands. But black money was invited to come to Detroit, Michigan, by blacks on the city council, and to try to build a black business district there.
Right.
And I wrote about a 119-page plan on how to do it. And guess what? But by the time I got ready to implement it in that city, which has they had an Asian town, a Chinatown, a Cork town, a Pole town, a Hockey town, a Mexican town, and a Greek town. And they came out and said, well, you can't build in a town anything strictly for black folk. That's racist. And the leadership in the town, with the exception of people like Joanne Watson and Kwame Kenyatta, they're only two other blacks on the council. They said, yeah, it would be racist for you to do something strictly for black folk. We gotta have businesses to serve everybody. We can't have anything special. And I said, if you do that, this city, you're going to go down the toilet. You're going to go bankrupt. I said, because right now, in this city, you have an annual disposable income of black folk is something like about $8 billion. I said, if you were to circulate that money 8 to 12 times and take the same money you got that you put into the school system, was about another $1.5 billion. And with the government funds, you could circulate your money 10 times or 12 times. You have a $100 billion cash flow in that city, rather than this $8 billion. I said, if you don't do it, you're going to go bankrupt. And that's why Detroit went. I said, I give you 3 years, you'll be bankrupt. And true to my prediction, they went bankrupt. And now whites are coming in and taking over all the city. Chinese are now planning on making Detroit the biggest Chinatown outside of China. And they bought most of downtown property already, including the old Tribune building. They're building a big black Chinatown downtown. And they got Greek towns downtown. Everybody's got a piece of Detroit except black folk. And these black folk, you might not believe, they're happy. They're happy, saying the city is coming back. We're coming back. We get, and they're gonna have just as poor as they were back 100 years ago. But they're gonna have own and control nothing. Everybody's gonna own and control them.
Well, many of us are being pushed out of Detroit. I live in downtown Detroit, so downtown Detroit was ground zero. So I saw the changes first, man. When they start putting bike lanes, you start seeing yoga studios pop up, man. You know gentrification is hitting. Let me say this quickly here. I know you got to run. Let me say this quickly to back up what you said. Kay Everett, City Councilwoman Kay Everett, wrote an article for the Detroit Free Press, September 30th, 2004. And it was called "For the Love of Detroit, Reject Racist African Town." Now, African Town is what the white controlled media call your plan. They called it African Town. Okay, and people need to read this article. Okay, "For the Love of Detroit, Reject Racist African Town." Now, Kay Everett, she died sometime after this. She was about to be indicted and died for some improprieties. But she was a black woman who put out this nonsense, and she voted against it. And she said what you were doing was racist. She compared your book to Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. And in the article, she said, "I have a grandson who I love and cherish to no end. I fear for his future in Detroit should he decide to hit the entrepreneurial trail. I fear for him because Amir's father is of Middle Eastern descent." And then she goes in to talk about how what you were trying to do is racist and things like this in the city that was 90% African American at the time. These were the type of traitors, Negroes that we had on city council then, and we still have some like that today. Go ahead.
Absolutely right, and that's why the city went bankrupt. That's why they're not going. And there's a little chance they ever recoup from it, because whites now own and control it. They gentrified Detroit. I set out for them. There are 4 things they're going to do all over this country. The next ghetto is going to be in the suburbs around all these major cities. Whites going to go in, they're going to gentrify every major area that black folk were able to take over in the late 1950s and 60s. They're going to gentrify them. They're going to privatize all the resources into the hands of the white society coming in. Then they're going to use what they call metropolitan forms of government, and a regional form of government to take control from black folk. And so that Detroit, that's even not only taking over Detroit. Detroit now is a gentrified city for whites and other groups. But they got Asian Town and Greek Town. Other groups own Detroit now. Same thing in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. used to be the chocolate city, known always from slavery days. Chocolate City was Washington, D.C. When I came to Washington, D.C. with the president in 1978, not in 1970, but 1976 and 77, and what happened at that point in time was that Washington, D.C., as Chocolate City, had about a 78% black population. Now it's down to like about 42%. All these major urban areas, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, St. Louis, all these cities are going to be privatized and gentrified. Black folk are going to be living outside in the suburbs like blacks in Washington, D.C. All the blacks will be over in PG County. It's going to go back to where it was about 200 years, 100 years ago.
Absolutely, brother. Some good news here. I know hip-hop artist Killer Mike did an interview on 107.9 in Atlanta on July 8th after the killings of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. And one of the things, the video has gone viral. I shared it here on my show. One of the things he talked about was getting 1 million black people to move $100 to black-owned banks, which would create $100 million and actually target a particular bank. He said Citizens Trust Bank, which is in Atlanta, and he said then they could make loans for black-owned businesses, to start black-owned businesses, to buy homes, things like this. In 5 days, Citizens Trust Bank on their Instagram page, and they stated in 5 days, 8,000 people have opened bank accounts with Citizens Trust Bank, which is a black-owned bank in Atlanta. Okay, so those are things that we need to keep up and keep on doing. That's some little good news right there. Go ahead.
But that's good, Michael. Just do me a favor. When you do that, when you deal with black banks, you hold them accountable too. You hold their feet to the fire. And so we're not going to let you treat us the way whites do, because you find in many instances some of these black banks, they are more conservative and more and oppressive against their own people than the white banks are. But you set up, but make sure you tell them up front, we're going to do these things, or we're going to hold your feet to the fire. Just like you're going to tell all the black politicians, if you don't start connecting with black folk when we put you in an office, we'll pull you out of there real fast and have a revolt against you and drag you out. And if we can't get you out, we'll go after whoever put you in there. Whatever major corporations support you, we'll start boycotting them and pull and put pressure on you and get you out of office. So you hold everybody accountable. That's why I said initially, and you repeated it, renegotiate your relationship not only with every political party, every political candidate, and all major corporations, but you also do the same thing with black banks and with black businesses. You deal with black businesses, you tell those black businesses, you're going to come in and do a good job. You're going to work steady and fine and do good work. And if you don't, we're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to work with you just because you're black. We want you to do a good job and be responsible for your people and give them a quality job and a quality of the day, but we're going to hold you accountable. You understand what I'm saying, Michael?
Oh, absolutely. That's the same thing I say. Absolutely. Definitely understand that. And I've created ideology that I call economic guerrilla warfare. And the three main principles of economic guerrilla warfare are redistribute, redirect, or renegotiate. Redistribute the pain of those inflicting pain upon us through economic withdrawal, redirect dollars to black-owned businesses, and renegotiate our relationship with corporate America. Let me say this quickly. You have a Powernomics and Politics. You have a Powernomics TV. You have an online course. It's regularly $500. It's on sale for $125. People can sign up for this online course at Powernomics.com. Powernomics.com. Just take a minute and tell people, what is this course about? Because this is brand new.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad you brought it up, because my wife would have shot me had I forgotten to mention that.
She would have shot me too. She would have shot me too.
Yeah. It's on Powernomics.tv. And what we're going to do now is that people saying, Dr. Anderson, people want to be a little more intimate, and they're learning things that you're trying to teach our people. And so we're going to start off first with politics and have 2 or 3 levels of politics. Start off with the initial one with some more of the general kind of issues that they should be familiar with politics. And then they have a self-imposed test at the end of it, where we go back and test them, let them test themselves on what they learned from it. And once they get so many stars or benefits out of that, then they go into step 2, which is coming up with where the politics and intrigues of politics get much more difficult as they go up. Then we switch from that over to economics and do the same thing. We have 2 or 3 levels of coursework for them to take and learn. And plus that I'll respond to any questions that they raise after each seminar. And when they raise questions, I'll go back on the set and try to interact with them, because I want to be close to them, and I want them to know as much as they possibly can get in their heads as quick as they can, because I'm sick and tired of whites and other groups bamboozling and misleading black folk. They've been doing it now for 1,400 years. I'm tired of it.
Well, I'm tired of it also, brother. People support this. Now, I just made a $100 donation to the Harvest Institute. Go to harvestinstitute.org. Right on the homepage, click on that yellow PayPal button, because I talked to your wife a couple months ago. I said, look, you need to make this easy for black people to vote. Black people to donate. Just put a PayPal button right there, and it's very simple. You can use your debit card, credit card, or pay from your PayPal account. So I just did that. Order this brother's books. He has a ton of information that will totally blow you away and empower you, and sign up for his class. And I want to talk to you later offline next week sometime, because what I want to do is I'm going to have a group of my listeners. We're going to sign up for this course and go through it, and I'd like to have you on my show so they can maybe call in and ask questions to you, or you could review some information, things like that. So we could talk about that offline, but I want to
Mike, I'll be glad to do that. But again, keep in mind, I don't know everything about everything, but I'll do anything in the world to try to help black folk, as I said to you a few minutes ago, because everybody else is out intent to beating them up and beating them down. I'm not going to allow that as long as I'm living on this earth. So I'll be available and go on your show whenever you need me, and I appreciate all your support. And again, tell them to go to the Powernomics TV and take the course, and once they complete that, we're going to the next higher level. That course might be the elementary level. Then we're going to go to the high school and the college level about understanding politics and the various complexities and ramifications of politics that they need to learn about, because right now they're too easily tricked, and they're getting ready to get tricked and bamboozled right now in this presidential election. If they go to and vote for one of these political candidates, or one of these political parties that have made absolutely no commitments to them, they got to be the greatest fools on earth. And I understand why white folks would think black folk are fools, because they go vote for candidates that promise you nothing and delivers nothing. Why are you voting? Politics is based on a very simple premise that came into existence back in about 1519. It's based on quid pro quo, something for something. One hand washes the other. You take care of me, I take care of you. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. And it's politics decides who's going to get what benefits out of life, Michael. And what these black folks are saying, why are you voting if you're not going to get any benefits? Do not listen to a lot of these civil rights leaders. And the community always talk about, well, black folks need to go out there and exercise their right. Politics is not about getting exercise. Politics is about getting benefits. If black folk that want to get exercise, you tell them to go out to the park and jog, or go down to the YMCA and take out a membership. But if they want benefits, that's when you go to the polls. You vote and say, I'm not voting for anybody unless they provide benefits. And presently, you have to understand that the way it's going right now, the cards are marked, the dice are loaded, and the machines are rigged, so black folk will get nothing out of this presidential election. Don't you let that go down. They should spend the next 4 months going public and demanding that somebody come out publicly and promise and deliver something to black folk. And as I said a few minutes ago, I'll be willing to do what I don't want to do. I'll stand up and I'll write down the things I want for black Americans, and I will represent black folk in this country. I don't want to be on anybody's political team. I don't want anything. I don't want Hillary Clinton or Trump to give me a damn thing. But I'll represent them and say, these are the things you're going to have to do for black folk in America, for 43 million black folk. If you're not going to do it, we won't vote. And black folks start their own independent party and say, we will go with whoever promises the most and delivers to black folk. That's who I'll support, and that's how I will represent black folk.
Absolutely, brother, and it's 44 million African Americans, so it's even worse. It's 44 million, and one thing I can say about Reverend Al Sharpton, I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he has said he has not endorsed anybody because he's still trying to figure out what it is that he's endorsing. He said he's still trying to figure out what policies are they pushing that are going to benefit us, and he said that publicly on his show. And I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I respect him for saying that, because that's teaching us that we have to get something tangible in exchange for our vote. Just don't vote for the donkey, okay? Get something tangible in exchange for our vote.
Even you talk to my friend Al, just make sure, let Al know that you're not going to, if he says, well, we're going to get this, but it'll be inside of this. See, one of the things that the major corporations told me a long time ago when I left the administration, Xerox Corporation, Sunoco Oil, and 2 or 3 others, they said, Dr. Anderson, when you're requesting benefits and donations of anything, you can't ask for it strictly for black folk. They say we have to put it inside of something like minorities and poor folk and people of color. I said, why? They said, because you black folk have to understand that in this country you are a pariah. And if we give you all anything, we have to put it inside of a large box. You all just got to scratch and see what you can get out of it. I said, I consider that to be an insult. I said, you give things directly to Hispanics, to Asians, to Arabs, to Indians, to Filipinos, to anybody. And but you don't, and you don't ask them to abandon their people and hide and duck and dodge to get something. I said, that's insulting and disgraceful. I said, don't ever give anything to any organization I'm familiarized with, or intimately involved with. I don't want your money. If you got to give me slip money through the back door and through a crack because you don't want anybody to see you doing it, I don't want your money. And I tell Al, I don't want any rock process, any resources from the government, anyone else, if they can't give it strictly and straight to black folk. Black folk were put into this trap 400 years ago, 500 years ago, because based on specifically on their skin color. And they come out of it, they got to get some programs and some benefits strictly and solely to blacks based on their skin color. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to smother it up and don't cover it, and don't try to put whipped cream on boo-boo. Just give it to black folk the way you gave slavery and everything else to them. Build on who they are. When you put them in, you build something on them to bring them out for who they are.
Exactly, because they're trying to put frosting on manure and keep serving it to us as cake.